Urban forests provide many benefits to communities, but those benefits are not always immediately visible. City officials, residents, and decision-makers often have many competing priorities. Roads need repairs, schools require funding, and public safety services demand resources. In this environment, urban forestry programs must clearly communicate the value of trees. Urban foresters therefore spend a significant amount of time explaining the benefits of urban forests to policymakers, community leaders, and the public. One of the most effective ways to communicate the value of trees is by discussing ecosystem services. As we explored in earlier episodes, ecosystem services include benefits such as stormwater management, improved air quality, carbon storage, and reduced urban heat. When these services are described in measurable terms, it becomes easier for decision-makers to understand their importance. For example, a city may calculate how much rainfall its urban tree canopy intercepts each year. If trees intercept millions of gallons of stormwater annually, that represents a real infrastructure benefit. Instead of building larger drainage systems, the city can rely on natural systems to manage some of that water. Another important communication strategy involves economic valuation. Urban forestry professionals often translate ecosystem services into financial terms. For example, trees that shade buildings can reduce air conditioning costs during the summer. Lower energy use means lower electricity bills for residents and businesses. Stormwater interception can also reduce the cost of constructing and maintaining stormwater infrastructure. Tools such as I-Tree, developed by the U.S. Forest Service, help urban foresters estimate these economic values. Using these tools, cities can calculate the annual financial benefits provided by their urban forests. When policymakers see the economic value of these benefits, it becomes easier to justify funding for tree planting, maintenance, and preservation programs. Another effective communication approach involves visual examples. Maps, charts, and photographs can help demonstrate the impact of urban forests. For example, maps showing canopy coverage across neighborhoods can reveal areas with limited tree canopy and higher temperatures. These visual tools help illustrate why planting programs are needed. Urban foresters also use storytelling to communicate the importance of trees. Stories about how trees improve neighborhoods, reduce heat exposure, or create welcoming public spaces can help people connect emotionally with urban forestry initiatives. Public presentations, community meetings, and outreach campaigns often combine scientific data with personal stories to make the message more engaging. Communication with decision makers is especially important. City councils, planning commissions, and municipal administrators often determine funding levels and policy priorities. Urban foresters must clearly explain how urban forests contribute to public health, infrastructure resilience, and community well-being. Effective communication helps ensure that urban forestry programs receive the support they need. For the ISA Urban Forest Professional Exam, remember that communicating ecosystem services and economic value is a key strategy for gaining support for urban forestry programs. Exam questions may emphasize the use of data, economic valuation, and visual tools to explain the benefits of urban forests to decision-makers and the public. Today we explored how urban foresters communicate the value of urban forests to communities and policymakers. By translating ecosystem services into measurable environmental and economic benefits, urban forestry programs can build stronger support for tree management and planting initiatives. So far we have explored how urban forests are measured, managed, and supported by communities. In the next podcast, we will begin a new section of the series. We'll shift our focus to the urban floricultural practices that support healthy urban trees, starting with the professional standards that guide modern tree care. You've been listening to the Arborist-podcast. Our goal is to grow our collective knowledge, one domain at a time. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe to help us keep this momentum. Until next time, let's keep growing this community together.